Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to look at some more games on the Steam Deck. First of all, I've got some games from various years today. We're going to look at Evil Within 1 to start with, and we're going to go from there. But as you can see, we're going to get straight into it. Evil Within 1. These are the settings that I'm running. So as you can see, Evil Within had like this really weird letterboxing thing where like it forced you to have a letterbox for a long time, especially when I played it on console as well. So as you can see, you can disable the letterbox on the PC version. I'm not sure if that's always been there or if that was like an update after the game came out, but as you can see, that's a thing there. And it also had a 30 FPS lock as well, but on the PC version you can actually take the lock off and play it at 60, which makes it a lot more smooth. It's a lot better experience, but if you really wanted that cinematic feel, which is why I'm guessing they did that in the first place, you'd have letterbox enabled and then you turn the VSync off, change it to 30 FPS. But as you can see, we're going to run it at like the high settings possible, and then we'll just go down from there in case we don't get a great frame rate on it. But as you can see, shadow quality high doesn't really give you a lot of in-depth options for the PC graphical options here. We've got like reflections enabled. It's pretty basic when it comes to actual settings, so we'll keep these settings and we'll hop straight into the game. Evil Within is an awesome horror game created by the same dude who made the Resident Evil series, so you know you obviously know it's going to be legit. I mean, people can fall off and make bad games, but the Evil Within 1, really solid horror title, like survival horror. So you're doing there's a lot of like action based in it, but there's also a lot of stealth in it as well. So if you're a fan of like Resident Evil, from like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 3, you'll probably really enjoy this. It's got that really quirky, you know, Japanese style to it. Really unique kind of horror. With the story as well is pretty unique too. As you can see, it's going to be testing the device here. We're running at 22 watt as it is already, and we're not hitting that 60 yet, so we may lock it down to 50. Obviously that's a possibility, but we'll stick to 60 right now. And yeah, for the sake of the video, I'm just going to go straight into some gameplay. I can already hear the fans ramping up, but it does look like a really nice game. So even though we disabled letterbox, it doesn't actually fully support 16 by 10, which is a little bit of a shame, but it does look really nice. High settings, it is pushing that 26 watt limit, so your battery life is not going to be amazing here. 91%, you're looking at an hour and a half, so it's really going to be testing your battery life here, but it does look like a really nice game. It's just a shame it's not using an engine as optimized as some of the Resident Evil games. I know some of the Resident Evil games use a really well optimized engine, so you kind of getting like the best of both worlds between performance and battery life. If we go ahead and just drop this to 40 here, should get a nice and smooth experience. Frame pacing's gone up a little bit here, frame time. I don't know if you can hear my fan going here. I can't tell if it's like it's like a mixture of the rain and the actual fan itself. But yeah, if we lock it at 40, hopefully the wattage can go down a little bit. I wouldn't really want to play a game at 24 watt. For me, that's not really enough battery life. I'd prefer to squeeze at least 2 hours out of it. But if you're playing at home and you want to plug it in, obviously that's not a problem. You just want to know if it works or not. And as you can see, lock it at 40, you're going to be playing on high settings. We could even try out an FSR mode on this and see if we can get FSR working on this. Might be quite a good idea. As you can see from the last video, Rise from the Rome, they added a lot more settings that you could use for the FSR, so a lot more resolutions became available, which is awesome because it kind of makes FSR something that you can actually use. Before, there was only a limited amount of games that actually supported FSR's resolution. If you wanted to, you could lock this down to 30 as well. I mean, that was like how the game was kind of expected to be played back in the day. So you could do like a 30 FPS lock. You could even change the shadow to medium. I mean, I doubt it's going to change much. Reflections, you want reflections, otherwise it's going to ruin the atmosphere a little bit. But if we just change it to medium, change it to a 30 FPS lock and actually set our refresh rate down to 30, it's not going to play as amazingly. As you can see, 30 FPS is a bit of an eyesore, but might just bring that wattage down to about where you can get a 2 hour lock on it. We'll find out. We'll just play a few more minutes of the game. You can see the wattage is dropping a little bit, and the battery life is going up here. So again, beauty of the Steam Deck. I say it in every video. Do a little bit of testing. I know it might take a little bit of your time up, but if you're planning to spend like 10 hours plus on a game, you kind of want to get the best settings. So welcome to PC world. That's kind of what we do on a PC. That's like our main thing. Spend about 3 hours adjusting all the settings for it, and then we can finally start playing the game itself, which is kind of why I want to see custom game profiles in this deck, just to save you a bit of time. You know, with it being a portable device, you're expected to play this on the go, so you kind of want to just jump straight into the game without having to mess about with settings. So just a little thing. We haven't had a massive Steam update for a while, so you never know, we might be able to get something going soon. We'll have to wait and see what Valve bring out to us in the future. But as you can see, the game gets straight into the action. Really doesn't mess about. For the sake of 2 or 3 wattage, I'd actually play this at 40 or 50, even if we can play it at 50, because by the looks of it, it's really not saved us a lot on the wattage side of stuff. So yeah, as you can see, there's the horror elements, this weird creepy ass dude here. But yeah guys, Evil Within 1. I think Evil Within 2 is a little bit more optimized, but I don't actually own Evil Within 2, so I can't test it for you right now. But as you can see, Evil Within 1 does work, just needs maybe a little bit of tweaking, unless you want to actually smash out the system. You could really mess about with TDP as well, but then you're going to get into like limiting your FPS. It's going to be a bit jerky, so there you go guys, Evil Within. So we're actually looking at Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen now. This is a really underrated action adventure game. I remember playing this one back in the day when it first came out on the 360. Just the combat really caught my attention because it's very Shadow of the Colossus-esque. You've got to you can climb up on top of your enemies depending on the size of them. Even birds and stuff flying around in the sky, and you just hack them to death whilst on top of them, whilst flying around. You've got a team of 4 different people who you can choose, who are called pawns. And yeah, it's just an awesome action adventure game. With a little twist on it as well, you know, a bit different to the usual action adventure games. But as you can see, the settings we're running at the moment, 60 FPS, medium, anisotropic filtering is 16, high, and distance scaling, medium as well. We'll keep with these ones for now, and yeah, we'll see how it runs. I'm expecting this one to run decently at a low TDP, because it's a little bit of an older game, and because it's a Capcom, I'm pretty sure it's a Capcom game, I'm hoping that it's on an optimized engine, you know, so I'm thinking it's not on the Fox engine, but I'm hoping it's along that kind of lines of optimized. They managed to get this running on the Switch pretty well, so we'll find out soon. As you see, I've got it 60 locked at the minute, but we can also change that if we need to. At the moment, I think I've just loaded my save from a while ago. It doesn't help that it's in the pitch darkness. I might have to put the gamma up a little bit just so we can see. Or the brightness even, that might help. But yeah, it's a pretty long game. As you can see, I'm only level 30 in my save. I've played it for quite a while, to be fair, but I don't know, it's just one of them games that you've got to really stick with, and it's one of them games that doesn't really tell you what to do. You've kind of got to find out yourself, and you can get lost pretty easily. So you've got to pay attention to where you're going, check the map. It's not a handholdy type of game, so keep that in mind before you pick it up. But like I say, the combat is very unique. You've got a grab attack, you can draw your sword, and then you've got a heavy attack and a light attack. Well, you can be a mage as well, I suppose. You can really play as whoever you want. But you've got a team of 4 different people, or 3, is it 3? Yeah, 3 different people helping you at one time. You can change them anytime as well, and they're all unique. Sadly, doesn't mean that they have a lot of personality. They have a decent amount of personality, but they don't have any backstories. It's not like they have their own story. It's very you create the character or pick someone online, and then they come into your world. A pawn of their online character comes into your world. And yeah, let's see if we can get into some fighting here. We can slide down. Looks like we're getting into some fighting here. So you can grab these little orcs and throw them, and you can also grab them for your friends to attack, like here. I've got him in like a chokehold. And then we're waiting for my teammate to come up, but he didn't help me in time. So we'll just attack. Be a little bit easier if it was daytime. Oh, it's even harder for me to see at the minute as well. Let's go over here where there's a torch. There we go. Might be a little easier for you to see. But yeah, as you can see, guys, 14 watt. That's really good. Really decent for a lock 60. A couple of high settings in there as well, and a couple of mediums, but that is really not bad at all. Going to be looking at almost 3 hours battery life. You could easily check this down to 40 and extend that to, yeah, let's do it. Let's extend it to hopefully past 3 hours. Let's see how much wattage that can take locked at 40. Going down to around 12 and below, so really nicely optimized game for the system here. If you're a fan of this game, let me know in the comments. It's got some amazing combat. Some of the bosses are absolutely wild as well, especially when you have the ability to grapple onto them and stuff. It just, yeah, it makes the combat extremely fun. But like I say, story is a little bit difficult to follow sometimes, and requires quite a bit of effort to just keep in tabs with it. Not ideal when you've just come from not playing the game for about 4 years now. I don't think I've opened this game for 4 years, so we'll see if the Steam Deck can bring it back into the forefront. I'm pretty sure you can swap to your pawns and use them as characters too, but I just can't remember what the ability is to do that. But if not, it's a very cool action adventure game. Just wish I played it more, you know, back in the day. Missed out on quite a few different boss fights with like massive dragons and stuff like that. It isn't Dark Souls like, it's more hack and slashy than that, but it's got that, like I said, the grab combat, so it's kind of like the draw to it, where you can like attach yourself to enemies and grab them and stuff like that, throw them around. But yeah, it's definitely not Dark Souls like, so I guess kind of the world looks a bit Dark Souls-y, but the actual combat itself is nothing like Dark Souls, which is nice. It's always nice to adventure around with your like different pawns and stuff. You get attached to them when they've been in your party for a long time. But yeah, guys, as you can see, Dragon's Dogma perfectly on the Steam Deck. Lock at 40, you're getting around 3 hours and 16 minutes battery life at 80%, which is awesome. There you go. So I thought I'd throw this little gem in the middle of my video here. Basically, if you haven't seen this before, it's called Paint That Town Red, and you're playing as little voxel dimension characters. I'm not a story term for it, voxel. It's mentioned in the game, but somewhere around here. I think it's in the settings where you can change how they look, but it's like a really weird fighting game. So you get thrown into like different levels, and you have to beat the crap out of everyone in the level. And if you beat everybody in the level, you basically get a score, and you get to show off your score. It's a pretty simple game, but the ragdoll physics in it is really fun, and the way that the enemies like the way that their bodies just when you attack them, they take damage. The way that the damage is shown off on their character models is so funny. It's just a little gem my friend showed me, and we was playing multiplayer on it, so I thought I might as well show it off on here. It is extremely fun. As you can see, I'm running it like here, screen space reflections on, and motion blur off, shadows high, and I think we can lock this at 40, and it gives us a pretty decent frame rate here. We use a pair game profile. But yeah, it's surprisingly harder to run than you'd expect, but it's a pretty simple game. I don't think it's massively well optimized for like weaker systems, but as you can see, you've got like different situations. They've even got like a new RPG game mode. It's got quite a lot of different things to do in it, but it's not massively too expensive. It's just a lot of fun, especially when you're playing it with friends on multiplayer as well. But yeah, this situation is called the biker bar, and basically we're in a bar, as you can see, and you can pick up objects, and as soon as you attack someone, you start fight. So as soon as I swing this, a fight starts and a fight breaks out. So now you've got to use all the weapons around you to beat the crap out of everybody. And if you manage to survive, you, like I say, that's how you basically win the game. You've got this amazing kick ability too, and you just wrap the guitar on the band member's head. Key in this game is to just keep moving, attacking different people at all different times without taking damage, because that's how you die, obviously. The pull queue is pretty good. You got to keep moving. If you stay in one place too long, people start coming up from behind you. You can throw weapons as well. But as you can see, like, the damage on the people's faces is pretty bad. It's pretty gory, especially when you start getting like heavy blunt weapons. Just start putting a pan over someone's head. Like, I died, so if we can just quickly replay it. The level will load pretty fast, but it's difficult. If you're playing by yourself, it's extremely difficult. I'll boot this guy in the side of the head and throw my glass at this dude's face. There's just something about it that'll never get old to me. It's just so funny. But yeah, as you can see, we're running at about 15 watt, 40 FPS locked, which is pretty nice, smooth. You can attempt to boost that up to 60. I'll show you what it looks like at 60. I don't know if it hits 60, but yeah, as you can see, it's kind of like at 50 FPS, struggles to hit 50. So for a smoother experience, I kind of just lock it down to 40, and then we get the best battery life as well. Still extremely playable, as you can see. You just got to be quite good with it. Find that the pull queue is quite good at perking. Cheeky little poke through the back of the head. Boom. Got the biker gang here. But yeah, it is not very deep. The gameplay is not very deep, but if you were fancy just releasing a bit of stress, you know, beating some voxel Minecraft looking ass dudes up, definitely recommend it. But yeah, if you was ever wondering if this game worked fine, I don't think I've ever seen anyone playing this on the Steam Deck. You can see it works perfectly. I think the Humble Bundle had this on recent sales, so if you picked up one of the Humble Bundles in the past couple of months, you'll have this in your Steam library. Works great on the Steam Deck, as you can see. But I just wanted to show it off because me and my friend have been having a really fun time playing this. You can also block as well, but I seem to forget how to do that. It's pretty graphic. And you also get special abilities too. And there's also a lot of mods you can use to enhance the gameplay. So you can start everybody with machetes, you know, just different mods that make the gameplay even more funny. Just an overall really fun game. So if this looks like fun, pick it up. And yeah, as you can see, it works great on the Steam Deck. So the final game we're going to look at today is Sonic Generations. I've heard this is one of the better Sonic games of recent times, so thought I'd check it out and you guys can see how it works. It's one of them games that opens up with a config launcher before it launches the actual game. So to give you an idea of my settings, as you can see, pretty much high, widescreen, anti-aliasing off, and then we're going to see if we can run it at 800p. And yeah, let's launch straight into the game. Not played this one before. I've heard it's like a mixture of 3D and 2D. And it has like a mixture of different levels from a load of different Sonic games, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we'll see if it works. If it does, then you guys can play a great Sonic game on the Steam Deck. If I use as you can see, I even set it up before in this profile section, so we'll try 60 FPS and see how that works. If not, we can always go down. But as you can see, it's very Sonic-y. See if I can continue on from a cloud save, so we'd have to start right from the beginning. But yeah, as you can see, I've not played much of this at all. Chemical plant, or we can go across, I think. This is interesting. As you can see, we're kind of doing a level here, but it's like the hub world. Right, that shows how good I am at Sonic. You can actually press A to dash. Okay. You can see like a tiny bit of stutter. I wonder why there's a tiny bit of stutter going on. That's interesting. For the sake of the video, let's just go into the chemical plant and do this stage. Colours look surprisingly really good on this screen. The game actually does look really nice. It's running at a solid 60 at the minute on a pretty low wattage too. Just a tiny bit of stutter. I'm not sure why there's a little bit of stutter. Maybe VSync might have sorted that out, but we can't really change that unless we go back to the main menu. But yeah, it's very minimal stutter. I just don't know if you can see it or not, but yeah. That kind of reminds me of the stuff from Portal. Interesting. Weirdly amount of stutter there. That was a bit weird. I don't know why it went to like 17 SPF there. Yeah, the really strange, glitchy, stuttery going on here. That's interesting. If it continues, I might actually try and play this with a different... It might work better with a different Proton version. But yeah, it shouldn't be going down to 15 FPS when you go really fast. That's not normal. Yeah, it's weird. It seems to be working okay now. Yeah, I can't tell if I'm a massive Sonic guy. I really want to like Sonic, but I don't know if I'm a fan of the platforming, the way that the platforming works, because especially when you go really quick, you kind of miss out on all the level design. You don't really get to see anything. You just quickly zoom in through the level, but I guess that's not really necessary. But yeah, the way you can collect rings, but then you suddenly lose about 20 when you get hit once. It's just never really gelled with the platforming of Sonic. But yeah, as you can see, there's a horrible amount of FPS drop, like randomly, in like different parts of this level. I may just check Proton DB and see what they're saying about this. Just referred to my trusty source at Proton DB. People are saying that hefty FPS drops do occur normally on this with the Steam Deck, which is a little bit annoying. You guys can go have a look. There's some recommended settings you can change, but they pretty much just say lock it to 40 and it doesn't drop as much. So that's what I've done. I've quickly just changed it to 40 now. Hopefully it doesn't drop as much, but yeah, people are saying that there's quite a lot, like some dudes saying FPS dips to 20 when playing through a new area, just all that kind of stuff. Some dudes saying 40, 60 FPS on low, 720p. He also said this game has significant stuttering problems on Proton 7.0. Changing Proton versions requires deleting the game config in the game files. Okay, so it apparently doesn't even change config when you change it normally. You've got to do a bit of magic behind the scenes, but yeah, just keep that in mind. Maybe a better idea to change the Proton to a different version before you start playing, and lock it at 40 as well. Should get you a better performance. Sadly doesn't run as good as I was expecting it to, but definitely a playable game. And you can lock on achievements as well. We all have achievements. Quickly onto this stage and see if it does the same thing, and then if it does, then you know the score. We'll find out, but a lot of rings there lost. Yeah, whilst we're playing this, guys, I just thought I'd update you on my situation at the minute. I do plan on doing videos as much as possible, but I'm starting a new job tomorrow, so it may be a little tricky for me to get videos out as consistently as I have been doing. But I'll try my best and we'll see what happens. But yeah, it may not be every single day, so I know you're not 100% bothered about seeing Steam content every day, so you know, keep your eyes peeled on the channel, and it should be like maybe every other day or something like that. But I'm going to continue pumping out the content for you guys. And I also have the new review of the Ambinic products. I've been playing it a lot recently. I've actually nearly finished Emerald on it, surprisingly, which is awesome. I've been using the ×5 speed boost, so I've pretty much just blitzed Emerald on that. Surprisingly really fun to play the older games on the Game Boy Advance emulator at like 5 times speed, you know, just so you can level up your whole team. It doesn't require you to spend hours and hours doing it. You can just quickly switch between everybody and level them all up. I know those older Pokemon games are a bit brutal. They only give you like 1 XP share. We're a bit spoilt now with the fact that you can literally level up the whole team at once. It does kind of ruin the fun of the game though. But yeah, as I say, working really well. I'm really having a good time with the emulator, the actual device as well. The screen looks amazing, the OLED screen, so stay tuned for that review. Should be coming at some point this week. But yeah, there you go guys, as you can see. This one works a lot better. Must have just been the previous level, but lock it down to 40 should be good. Speak to you guys soon, and I'll see you in the next one.